Hello, 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 salute. I am the Rasta Witch. Here's where we learn the way of the Yan Sui Rasta, which is to say, my kind of Ital. Please subscribe and begin your own kind of Yan Sui witchcraft. All roads lead to Rome. Home. Okay, so this video is I did the one video that was the first through fourth sills, the line of Judah opening the first through fourth sills. Then another video, about the fifth, or was it the third? The fifth and sixth. Anyway, right now we're at the sixth sill. The sixth sill has been opened, and the seventh sill wasn't open. I talked a little bit about it. So this is about how the seventh sill was opened. Okay, so. And right now, I'm going to start by just letting the scriptures do some of the talking real quick and just kind of skip over. I'm starting on chapter 5 of the Apocalypse, the book of Revelations, verse 2. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof? And no man in heaven nor in earth, neither in under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon." So like it says in the book of Daniel, the book would be sealed until the time of the end. The book of Revelations is it's like an expansion of a revelation that Daniel from the Old Testament had. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and read the book, neither to look thereon. And then Revelations 5:5, the one I keep quoting. And one of the elders saith unto me, "Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the seals thereof." Okay, because I keep quoting that. That's when I say Revelations 5:5, that's Revelations 5:5. So now skipping to chapter 6. Chapter 6 is where the first through six seals are open. Okay. The first seal, remember, the first seal was opened in 1916 when Rastafari fought the armies of Negus Michael, which was necessary for him. There was many obstacles, not just that one. There was many obstacles and many things trying to stop Rastafari from becoming emperor of Ethiopia. But this was a major moment when he beat the armies of Ras Michael. That's what really got him going in the right direction. That led to him becoming the emperor. So that happened in 1916. So verses 1 and 2 is the first seal. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow. Of course, that's Haile Selassie I. And a crown was given unto him, of course. And he went forth conquering and to conquer. Okay, the second seal was in 1936 when he spoke before the League of Nations. And when he had opened the second seal, so again, remember, you're like, oh yeah, that could have been a lot of things, but is it significant? Is it relevant to today? Does it teach the message that we need to hear? Or is it just, because most people, there's a million interpretations of this stuff, but just, you need to recognize the other people, the whole point they're all, and this is this, and this happened on this date, and this and that proves that you should listen to everything I say and believe that me and the leaders of this church are the representatives of God on earth, and you should give us your money. That's the moral of the story. That's the moral, that doesn't, who cares? What? A church? What? Who cares? A church is an out-of-date concept. Leaders of a church? Who cares? We've got problems, real problems. What does that have to do with anything? So the second seal is verse 3 and 4. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard a second beast say, "Come and see." And if you've ever seen the speech before, when Haile Selassie I gave that speech, all the Italians, because that's what he was doing, was speaking about that the Italians were coming illegally, and the League of Nations needs to, since it's illegal, they need to do something about it. That's what their job is. And the Italians are they're whistling and clapping and making it so loud that you can't hear anything Haile Selassie I says. And then I think like didn't the power go out and stuff, and just this big moment happened. The Italians tried to stop him from saying anything, and then finally they were kicked out, and then he was able to continue and come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and so that's Hitler. And power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Certainly, Hitler certainly did that. And that he's like what World War II is all about, right? And that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. I'll leave a link in the description box about the Holy Lance, or the Spear of Destiny, the spear that Hitler wanted so very badly and ended up getting, the spear that pierced the side of Jesus. So that's the rider of the white horse is Haile Selassie, the rider of the red horse Hitler, and the third seal. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard a third beast say, Come and see. And behold, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. So that's Harry S. Truman. 1949 was when Selassie gave the speech relevant to that era, and the lesson, and gave us the message of it all. Because it's the black horse, because there's all this death and war, and we had made all these advancements in war with bigger weapons and death, you know. So and why are the balances in his hand? Well, continuing on to verse 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. So that was when Libra ruled, like I said in the previous one. That was one of the policies of the UN. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine, like it says in Proverbs 21:17. That's what Babylon cares about, the oil and the wine, right? Imagine if there was no the petroleum, we use hemp seed oil instead, and there would be all new people in charge. It would change everything, right? Okay, so now the fourth seal. The fourth seal was opened in 1954 when Selassie gave another speech. And when he had opened the fourth seal, because the League of Nations fell apart. Selassie I said it would fall apart if you guys don't do anything. It fell apart, and then the UN started. So then Selassie gave a speech there in 1949, and opened this seal. Oops, I'm sorry. And not 1949 was the third seal. 1954 is the fourth seal. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard a voice of the fourth beast say, Come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, so the Cold War. And his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him. And it was Dwight D. Eisenhower. And if you see I've left many links for my Haile Selassie one, you can see that's certainly true. We just don't hear about that, what was really going on with Dwight D. Eisenhower and these weapons at this time. He was crazy. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. The fifth seal was in 1966 when Haile Selassie visited Jamaica. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God, and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, and said, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them which dwell on the earth? Did Haile Selassie actually say that? It's the the prophets would have astral projected to these times and seen this. It's just someone describing the situation. That's the situation, The people in Jamaica at the time, like a man made enough to buy like a couple loaves of bread and had to support his whole family for it. So he was had to rely on all these government programs and everything. Like they were in extreme situations, and and just all with the days of slavery and all the extreme situations that are undeniable, you know, like when is this, or the tables going to turn, or maybe not the tables turn, but when is this things are going to get better for us, you know, and white robes in verse 11, and white robes were given unto every one of them. So he gave like medals and awards to everyone. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. Right? That's probably the most, like, what is one of the things that Jesus said the most often? He constantly said the first will be last, the last will be first. It was like his favorite saying. He said it all the time, you know. So then the sixth seal was in 1975 when Selassie was deposed. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. And so it just talks about, you know, there was a great earthquake in 1976. And it says the sun became black as sackcloth, and the moon came as blood, and the stars fell from heaven, and on and on and on. You know, environmental issues, you know, and so that's definitely, so the 1975 started the next era, the church in Laodicea. The heavens departed as a scroll as it rolled together. Every mountain and island were moved out of their places, you know, so like, you know, like this, the crimes against the earth and global warming and everything. And the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains and the mighty men, every bondman and every freeman hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. So right, that's what you see nowadays, hiding in the mountains, you know, in other words, you know, believing everything their churches say and believing everything their government says. Do you know what a snob is? Like a free thinker is someone that can think for themselves. The opposite of a free thinker is a snob. You know, someone that's like, all, well, what do you think about this? They have to run home and see what their group thinks about it first. You know, they can't think for themselves. They're not a free thinker, you know. A snob, you know, that this is the era of Laodicea is the era of snobs. The snobs rule the streets, you know, rule the world we live on, you know, everybody's a snob, you know. They can't think for themselves. They have to run home and check first and see what's cool to believe, or what everybody's believing, or what the algorithms are saying and things like that, you know. They're just hiding in the mountains, you know. And said unto the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, you know. It's like, if you know, what would happen if I was saying these things before a congregation of 1 million people? People would be like, oh yeah, think about the things they'd be saying, you know. You know, but yet, you know, that's not the truth. The truth is what my pastor says, which is this, like, it's like comparing a pebble to a mountain, you know. It's like, oh, that's what you're saying. It kind of sounds like that, but it doesn't have anything to do with anything, you know, compared to, I mean, you didn't even say anything about the Lion of Judah, you know, like you didn't say anything about anything. What a joke, you know. So then you get to verse 7, and it goes more and more into environmental issues. And he cried with a loud voice and to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth, and saying, hurt not the earth, neither the seas nor the trees, till we sealed the servants of our God in our foreheads. And then it goes over the 144,000 soul groups of this tribe and this tribe, and the tribe, you know, the tribes people are becoming aware of who they are, and all this, and the things that we learn. You get to verse 8 finally. So I believe that Selassie I opened the first through the 6th seal, you know, and Selassie I also opens the 7th seal, but that's what this video is about. So then verse 8, chapter 8, verse 1, it says, and when he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of a half hour. Okay. And then there's the 7 trumpets. And I saw the 7 angels which stood before him, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, given unto him much incense, and he should offer the prayers of the saints, the golden altar, you know. And verse 4, and the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God in angels' hands. So, the saints would be smoking cannabis and stuff. So Haile Selassie, in his book, believes that the seventh seal was opened when the spacecraft Giotto, the British Interplanetary Society, in March 13th, Friday the 13th, March 1986, he believes the spacecraft Giotto was put up into the Earth, and we lost communication with it for 30 minutes. The whole world was watching and lost communication for 30 minutes, and he gives some references for that and stuff. Because remember that says, and when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of a half an hour. So I don't believe the seventh seal is open because the peace hasn't begun. The millennium of peace. We're still in war, and there's nothing. The end result hasn't happened yet, and it's because, like Selassie I said in the opening of the fifth seal, we just have to. It's going to take time for people to realize that war is a dumb idea and to start directing our energies and our thoughts into the right place. But Selassie I will open the seventh seal. Will he resurrect and come to life again? No. When in 1976, when Selassie disappeared from history, all the Rosses were like, "Oh no, hey, Jaws, what are we gonna do now?" And they asked Bob, "What are we gonna do now?" And Bob wrote the song "Jah Live," and I'll put that song after this video. Jah live. Children, yeah, Jah live. The point is that Jah didn't die. Jah lives. Jah lives inside of us. Like that scene on The Lion King where he's like, "All, who are you?" He's all, "My dad's gone." And he says, "Look at the reflection in the pool," and he looks and he says, "That's just me." And he's all, "Look harder." The baboon. Monkey, no, was it I don't know what kind of monkey it was, told him to look harder, he's like a guru. And then he finally sees his dad in his own reflection and realizes that his dad lives on within him and he is to be king, So it's that kind of a thing, Haile Selassie I will open the seventh seal. Maybe he's already opened the seventh seal in me because I've realized these things, and many others. Maybe Haile Selassie I's. Maybe I don't know if it literally. Maybe these same things can be learned in different ways. All roads lead to Rome. You don't have to be a Rasta, as far as I know. There might be many different ways that someone can learn these lessons. There's 144,000 soul groups, right? And the Rainbow Warriors and everything needs to come together. But Haile Selassie I will open the seventh seal when we finally mature and grow spiritually enough within our hearts that we finally have what it takes to make this happen and to start living in sync with the earth and loving one another and living up to what we need to live up to be able to move on to the next thing and give up these ridiculous ideas that we organize religion and God's a man in the sky and there's such a thing as a book that's the Word of God and there's people that believe that the earth was created 6,000 years ago. It's like, what the hell? Even if you believe in the Bible, it's not. Like, why would you think that's what the Bible says? Take it so literally. It's like we need to outgrow horrible things like that. Like with they're being such babies that they believe something so stupid, so then the whole world has to suffer because of it. Shame on them, And Jah's wrath, that's what it means. Jah's wrath, Jah's mad. What are you guys doing? The whole point, how many times did I have to say, it's the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. None of these things matter. All this stuff, none of it matters. You know, get a clue, mature, and realize what really matters. You know, and that's when the seventh seal's open, and it'll happen at different times for different people, and when you can when you when you transcend the seven stages of ego development, like I go over in one of my videos. I'll leave a link in the description box about that, or maybe I'll do another video about it. But it's called Two Great Rasta Teachers in my early Rastafarian history one, where I talk about Bhagwan Ra Africa. It was a Zen Buddhist who was talking about you got to transcend your ego, and there's seven levels of ego. You know, when you make it to the seventh stage of ego development, you become ecocentric and you become one with everything, and and you see things for what they really are. You know, you've transcended all these stages of ego. You know, and when that happens, your example and your love ripples out, and then that it catches on with more and more people, and meanwhile there will be people being killed and all these things. But at one point, it's all good will conquer over evil, and finally it'll add up to enough that the world peace will begin, like the Lorax. That's where we are now in the age of Laodicea. You know, the what if there was a Lorax part two? You know, it hasn't happened yet.